Carlo Collodi imagined a piece of talking wood might become a woodcarver's son. Luigi Capuana imagined a piece of talking wood might become a sexy, sexy lady. This is The Talking Tree, a very bizarre and accidentally saucy 19th century fairy tale from Italy.
The Fairy Tales with Liz.
Dings! Once upon a time, there was a king who was a collector. He was specifically interested in collecting the rarest things in the world. Here he is, showing off his goodies to a visitor.
This is my polka dot zebra. Here is a dad that has never once uttered a single dad joke. Oh, and this? This is an argument from the bowels of Facebook, where not only did the two participants come to an amicable agreement, but neither of them were bots. Fascinating collection indeed. I'm shocked you don't have the talking tree among your oddities. I've never heard of such a thing. Sire, not only have I seen it with my own eyes, but I heard it with my own ears. She repeats this phrase all day long. Ever to wait for what never comes. Left and bereft with these damn doldrums. So it's a lady tree. Now I'm interested. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Wooden boobs. Are wooden boobs sexy? Oh yeah.
The king sent out his men to track down this tree, but they were unsuccessful, so the king threatened the visitor with death. Sure, the guy was lying, but the visitor swore the tree lady was real. So the king himself set out in disguise to find the wooden-limbed lady. He walked the world over and over, just about to give up, when he landed in a deep, lush valley with a variety of beautiful trees. Not a soul was around, so he was very surprised when he heard a sweet voice.
Ever to wait for what never comes. Left and bereft with these damn doldrums. Who said that? I knew it was one of you trees.
No one responded, so the king ran around to each tree, snapping off a leaf or a fruit until one of them cried,
Ow! Why would you do that? Because you're an olive tree and I wanted this olive. Oh yeah, and how would you like it if I snapped off one of your dangling fruits? Ooh, point taken. So what's your deal? Are you actually a tree or are you a cursed woman? I'm a princess from Spain. My name is Olivia. Yeah. Some witch with a real corny sense of humor turned Princess Olivia into a f***ing olive tree. I knew it! Cursed lady. Yes, that witch built this gorgeous fountain right in the middle of where any princess walking by could just take a bath in it with no questions asked. No sooner had I dipped a toe into the water than I was cursed with this form. Is there an antidote or a counter curse? There is, but there are two parts to it. One is you have to find this charmed axe that you'll use to cut me down. But for it to work, you must also swear to marry me here and now while I'm a tree. I swear to marry you. Really? You don't have any hesitations promising yourself to an olive tree? A lot of historical fairy tale precedents points to you being gorgeous under that scratchy bark. I wish you the best of luck in finding that axe then. But get out of here! I can hear that witch cackling. She's on her way.
The witch showed up and thwacked Olive the tree princess repeatedly with her broomstick for receiving a visitor, a fact that was betrayed by the king's footprints. The king hurried off, eager to free Olive from the witch's abusive clutches as soon as possible. Unfortunately, he had no idea where to find this axe. He wandered around the wide woods with no idea where he was going until it was past dark and he had to make camp. He decided to camp up in a tree to avoid the beasts of the night and maybe to practice cozying up to a tree so he'd be ready for his future wife if the whole counter curse thing didn't work out. Good thinking jumping up that tree, for a man-eating ogre and his half-dozen mastiffs showed up right around midnight. The creature couldn't figure out where the human smell was coming from, and so he wandered off again, and the king was spared. The next day, the king carefully slipped down from the tree, and he ran right into a stunning woman who was not a tree at all, though she was very tall with green skin. Well, how can I help you, handsome stranger? Oof, I am completely lost. Could you point me in the direction that's the opposite of wherever that ogre was headed? First off, that ogre is my dad. Ah, the height and the green skin make a lot more sense now. Oh, don't worry, honey, I have no allegiance to that man, especially when a cutie pie king is involved. You don't happen to know anything about a magical axe, do you? I do, but there's no time for that. My dad is due back any minute and he's gonna eat you up.
Luckily, I can hide you right where we stand. I just need you to lie down flat. I'll sit on you, and I'll hide you under my skirts.
The king decided being dry humped by a giant woman wasn't the worst way he could hide. When the girl's father arrived, he found his daughter sitting in the middle of the forest, flushed and suspiciously excited.
I smell a tasty human. You see one around here? You're just getting the after smell of the guy I just gobbled up. What do you mean you just ate a guy? I don't see any bones. Trust me. I took care of the bone. What are you doing? You sure you want to know? I'm gonna head down to the shore and see if I can catch a fisherman for dinner.
The ogre's daughter released the king from her thighs and brushed the dirt off his back, giving him a little spank before she was done. The king explained that he needed the magical axe to break the princess's tree curse. The ogre's daughter offered a proposition.
We do have such an axe, and I will give it to you if you marry me. Oh, this is awkward. I actually have to marry the tree lady in order to fully break her curse, so. So, too bad for me. Ah, what the hell? You're so cute, I'll give you that axe anyway.
The woman led the king to her father's castle and produced the magical axe. Before she gave it to him, she began oiling up the king's body with an ointment.
What is happening? It's a protective ointment. The axe blade is greasy too. Is it the same protective ointment? Yep, you can't be too careful. Now, this axe will only free the cursed princess if you can follow the next few rules. First, you have to convince the witch to give you the tree. Then, when you're cutting it down, you need to do the opposite of whatever she tells you. Lastly, you gotta cut off her head before you go. Ugh, this is getting complicated. Well, yeah, honey, you promised yourself to a cursed princess. You know who isn't cursed? This bitch.
Unfortunately for the ogre's daughter, the king forged on to his botanical fiancée. The king followed his instructions to the letter.
Madam, may I purchase this olive tree? I can use the wood for charcoal, and I can use the olives for yum-yums. All right, you can have it, but you need to chop it down exactly as I tell you to. First, strike it here at the top. You said right here at the bottom, right? No, I said the top. Sorry, I can't hear you over me chopping this tree off at the bottom.
He had a little trouble getting close enough to the witch to chop her head off, but then he had a very original, genius idea.
Look, a duck! Where?
Yeah, the old look over there gag worked for some reason. And as soon as the witch's head flew off her shoulders, Olive the tree became Olive the princess. But once the king and Olive got back to his palace, they realized they had a further complication.
I feel weird. Do I look weird? Nah, you look beautiful. Touch my hand. Whoa, is your body made of wood? Apparently so. Were you made of wood before the curse? No. Oh my god, am I gonna be wood forever? Well, you know, it might not be all bad. What do you mean? Wooden boobs. Oh, yep, they are wood, all right. In fact, they're completely smooth. No nipples to be found. Oh no. What? I have a terrible hunch that I look like a Barbie doll on my undercarriage, too. You mean. Oh, yep, not a damn hole to be found down there, just a solid mound. Geez, who'd have thought there'd be a downside to wooden boobs? What's the upside?
The king eyed the magical axe that the ogre lady handed him. He had a thought and sliced an olive with the blade. Sure enough, before his eyes, the olive turned to wood. The ogre's daughter, jealous of his arborous engagement, had enacted her own curse on the princess, smearing a different magical ointment on the axe blade that turned whatever it cut into wood. So the king set Princess Olive up in a nice suite and set back out to confront the pretty ogress and fix what she started. He found her mansion much easier this time, but the ogre's daughter wouldn't let him in, knowing she'd cursed his bride. So the king got crafty. He tossed some pebbles at her window until she answered.
Beautiful maiden, I'm here to eat crow. Oh, yeah? As soon as I returned to my clunky fiancé, I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. I couldn't stop thinking about that incredible afternoon that I spent under your giant skirt. Love 'em and leave 'em. That's always the way with you kings. Oh no, please, let me in. Let me make it up to you. Besides, I never returned your axe. I never even used the thing.
The ogre's daughter let the king inside. He immediately cozied up to her, reaching up and wrapping his arms around her waist. He took the opportunity to brush the axe blade against her elbow, cutting her ever so slightly, and sure enough, her elbow and then her arm began to harden up.
Aw, crap, you nicked me with that axe. Grab that clear bottle of ointment so I can stop the curse. I'm not the one here that should be rock hard, you know what I'm saying? You're all in on that ointment magic, aren't you? Quick, I need you to rub it all over me. My turn for an oily massage.
The king snatched the ointment and ran away, leaving the ogre's daughter howling and lumbering around like the lumber. He ran right back to the palace and hurriedly knocked on Olive's door.
I got it. I just need to rub this oil all over your body. How do I know that's not a bottle of shellac and you're here to polish my wooden boobs? Fair. I'll call a lady's maid.
Once Olive's body was back to flesh and blood, she and the king were married, and one assumes he didn't simply add her to his collection. That would be as weird as, well, this fairy tale. If you'd like to enjoy more weird fairy tales, including ones about wooden ladies and helpful ogre women and other Italian fairy tales, you should pick up my book, Up Fairy Tales, available wherever you get books.